How's it going, guys? I'm Jeff.
I'm Alyssa.
And welcome back to the Real Life Podcast, where we talk about faith, culture, and answer your questions. Guys, we are back. It feels so good. I feel like I almost want to tear up when we start recording again because we love you guys so much. If you're watching on YouTube, remember we're every week on YouTube and wherever you listen to podcasts. But shout out to the YouTubers because you guys are the only ones that get to see my bare feet. There they are right here.
In my pajamas. This is like the pajama edition.
Exactly. 90% of the time we record our episodes late night after the kids go to bed. So if we look tired, it's because we are. And if we look kind of busted, it's because we are. At least me.
Yep. Same.
But we love it. It's fun. I think every parent knows those are the little margins at the end of the day. But hey guys, we're back. We're back. Thanks so much for all the awesome feedback last week. It was just so cool to see that you guys actually missed us and we weren't just, just filling a random void that no one cared about. Okay, so we're just going to jump into it. We'll get back probably in a couple weeks. We'll get back to our more traditional episodes of either one, interviewing people that we love and that we think are inspiring. Alyssa's got some cool stuff lined up for May with her book with special interviews of a lot of people you're going to love. And two, our normal podcast of just kind of us breaking down big ideas and topics. But today, I think we'll still be doing that today. But today and probably next week, we just want to kind of ease back into things with Q&As. And because I think it's kind of like, I feel like we've been gone for so long. We kind of want you guys to define the terms for just a couple weeks, and see what you guys are asking and see where your guys' hearts and minds are. So yeah, we're just gonna ask questions. My favorite part about Q&A every time we do it is I've seen them, Alyssa never has. So
Spirit, speak.
Exactly. Doesn't he always? Okay. There was one I read earlier. Give me a sec. That I actually really loved. I think that'd be a fun one to start on. Here it is. From Jennifer. Jennifer, I love this question because I never really thought about it particularly like this way. Jennifer asked, so we're coming up on 10 years of marriage next year, which is crazy.
We are?
Yeah.
I thought it was...
No, it's not going to be 9 this year, 10 next year.
Okay, got it.
So, but this is a good question. How has your marriage changed since the first year?
Dramatically? Drastically?
You think so?
Upside down?
You think so?
Topsy-turvy? You don't think so?
I do, but tell me more.
You answer.
No, you're the one that shot all those words out. You gotta back that up.
I'm not saying it's like upside down. I'm just saying, and it's cool because we are only 8 years in. I feel like we know each other at a way deeper level than when we were year one. Just I think when you go through life with someone and you go through trials and grief and sanctifying moments like raising kids or finances or work stuff, I feel like, when you press into Jesus, you just are going to grow a lot deeper. I understand him so much more. I feel like we just have gone through a lot together. And so, yeah, I feel like it's like sometimes I long for the past because it felt really fun, and not that it was all fun, but like a little more carefree, not as much responsibility type of thing. But then I'm like, but this is so sweet because I feel like we have like a really deep knowing of each other.
Yeah. I think that's what Jeremy always talks about too, other half of Family Teams in April, where sometimes we always wish for that carefree past. He's like, but those seasons where you're wishing for that is usually seasons where God's given you more to steward. And so that's actually a sign of like building. Like that's actually like, that is what it means to be an image bearer, is to continually have your reign and your rule expand. And when your reign and your rule expand, it gets more complex. It gets more difficult. You grow with it. The Lord provides for you. You have more tools and more systems, et cetera, so that hopefully you don't burn out. But I'm just saying, but yeah, I see what you're saying. And I actually agree. But I feel like that's always a good reminder that, that I think we've built something really special in almost 10 years.
Yeah.
That is more complex, that is more dynamic now, that is more multifaceted, and that does take a lot more energy to steward.
Yeah.
And I think the Lord's stretching us in that. But I'm going to ask a follow-up question to you, but I'll answer real quick too. So be thinking about this one. How have you changed since our first year of marriage?
Is that how you read it?
No.
Oh, okay.
But that's how I'm reading it now.
Okay.
I think how have we changed? Yeah, I don't want to just like brag on us, but I feel like we've just gotten way better. I feel like that's what marriage should do. Like, I don't think that's brag. I think it's like, I reflect on those early years and I'm like, man, we just didn't I feel like we've grown. We didn't communicate as well. I feel like we weren't on a team as much. Now there's moments, with like the dating side of things. I think that, always those early years almost feel like they have more power than any other future years unless you work really hard for it. But yeah, I feel like I just love what we have. I love what we have now. You're my best friend. I just love being married to you. And it's a gift. So yeah, I think when I hear that question, I'm just like, whoa, what a gift that like we have done not the hard work because we still have 50 years to go, but in the 9 years we've been given, I feel like we've put the right steps so far together. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that we can be like, oh wow, this kind of, and what I mean by that is like the feedback loop is showing positive, even though there's a ton of difficulty, even though it's more stretching. I think it almost is a humbling double-edged sword. I feel like 9 years in, I dramatically can understand why marriage is one of the most insanely amazing, biggest blessings in the world.
Yeah.
Like it's so amazing, right? Just on like kinship, intimacy, friendship, team, etc., mission. And at the exact same time, I can so dramatically understand how it's one of the hardest things in the world, or one of the things that if you just make some of the smallest decisions, actually they can go sideways fast and big.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Totally.
And I feel like I believe both of those more than I believe than when we were first married.
Totally.
Meaning like I believe more than when we were first married that it's better than the marriage is amazing more than I thought then. And I actually think it's more fragile.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
good word.
so that's interesting. But what would you say though on the personal?
Well, I will just add too, we are not perfect in any way, shape, or form. And we have a lot of growing to do in our marriage.
Yes.
And there's definitely areas that's like, oh, we need like healing of that. We need deep wisdom and growth. But I will say we're really grateful for how the Lord is working. And so yeah, just for listeners to know, like we haven't arrived at any,
no, not at all,
any shape or form.
And if anything, it's like, again, that double-edged sword of like the more you go into the tunnel, the darker it gets, and what I mean, like the more you go into marriage, the more vulnerable it gets. So the more exposed you feel. You know what I mean? But yet, hopefully, if you're making healthy decisions, the more loved you also feel. So it's like this. So it is like there's a difficult
there's like
part
a deeper
of it.
knowing.
Yeah, there's a difficult part of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, what would you say though about personally?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to hear your answer. For me, I feel like I've changed so much. I don't feel like I'm the same person that you married at all, and vice versa.
Yeah, that's crazy to think about though. But it doesn't feel like I've changed. It's kind of like when you watch your kids, right? You're like, you don't seem like you're growing, but then you look at pictures and you're like, whoa, that's a different person.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel like we're dramatically different in the present, but when I think back to when I really try to put myself in my 2012 shoes, my 2009 dating shoes, I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Talk more about that.
Oh. That's gonna take a little deeper thinking.
I can go.
Okay, yeah, you go.
I think yeah, I mean, I still have so much to grow in, but man, what's interesting too, guys, about our life is I feel like, we're more on public display than most people. There's more people that are way more on public display. We, we don't go super, we're not online every single day doing vlogs every day. There's a lot of it you don't see, but we are public enough to have like a public record of like who we were, and the little things bleed through the cracks. And so one really simple stuff that I feel like, like I watched like videos from when we were first dating and married of us together. And I'm like, man, I interrupted you way more. I like talked over you way more. But that stuff that's like not coming out of any ill will. It's just like the sharpening that happens when you've been married. Like just your if inefficiencies is the wrong word, what's what I'm looking for? You're just like your weaknesses, your proclivities, kind of the bad edges around you are so glaring. You know what I mean? That when they get exposed, you can either like harden them up or try to, stay soft in them and grow. And I feel like I've grown in like that type of stuff. I think, and basically what I'm saying is that I feel like marriage, you don't like lose yourself in the other person, but I feel like there's like a JV version of that where like, I just feel like I've become more like you.
Yeah.
I've become more like you. So even though I have a long way to go, I would say the same ways you've changed is more towards like me, where like I've become a lot more soft, a lot more gentle, a lot more compassionate. You would probably say, as of 2 nights ago, still a long way to go. But right?
Yeah.
More
I agree.
sensitive, more aware.
Yeah.
I would say you have probably, become less, I don't want to say less sensitive because I like your sensitivity, but
I have tougher skin.
yeah.
Would you say that? Maybe not.
Or more
Maybe
like,
I don't.
I feel like you're able to be more objectively detached from things
Yes.
on like decision making
That's
and
true.
and like our mission and our calling rather than kind of like it just being so emotional all the time.
Yeah.
What?
It's true.
Yeah.
I'm a
But
highly
but that's like
emotional
me
person.
though. Like I'm really like that. I can
Yeah.
because I can make decisions just completely objective all the time, completely detached. Just we
That's
need to
true.
do this or we don't need to do this.
Yeah.
And I feel like you have become like that while still retaining your Holy Spirit sensitivity and emotionally charged parts about it that are a gift. So yeah, isn't that funny? Like we've kind of almost become like each other.
Yeah, that's cool. I never thought about that.
Yeah. What else would you say? Or you want to move on?
No, yeah, let's go to the next question.
She doesn't want to sit in that one any longer, guys. It's bringing up too much.
That one will take me a while. That's like very introspective.
Yeah. Okay. Man, I screen captured a bunch and then I kind of messed them up. Okay. Here's a good one. This is just an easy one. From Marley, how did Alyssa know she wanted to write her newest book? Now, for those who don't know, Satisfied, as of when you're listening to this, I think comes out exactly a month from now. So you guys need to go check that out.
My hands just got real sweaty.
I know, isn't that crazy? Guys,
Yeah.
I'm so proud of Alyssa because like I said, she's been doing this alongside me and stuff like that for like 7 years, whatever. But finally, and I think she's had a calling to do it individually for that long, and she has done it some stuff individually. But I feel like I think the Lord just put a very particular calling on you this last year of kind of more out in front, pushed out. And I love seeing it. And so this book is such a big flagship part of that. That's just so you and what you're about and who you are and your DNA and anyone who's resonated with you over the last 7 or 8 years. This is so like the distilled, just Alyssa times 10 book. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's color interior, coffee book style. But anyways.
Thanks, babe.
Talk about it. How did you know
What's
you wanted? Marley said, how did Alyssa know she wanted to write her newest book?
Yeah. Well, like Jeff said, this is like 2-part answer to your question. I've always wanted to write a book. It's always been my dream since I was a little girl. When Jeff and I were dating, we actually were broken up and we met for coffee and we both told each other like one day we both wanted to write a book. I remember having that conversation. And anyway, and I've written a couple co-written before, but this is the first one solo. And I knew that I wanted to, I shared this with the launch team this week, but it came 2-part fold. I think I really wanted to write a book, but more so I just really wanted to like serve you guys and serve our audience. And I wanted you to see way more than what I could offer on Instagram with a little picture and a little caption. Instagram is so great and there's so much truth there. But we only see a teeny part of someone's life or their story. And so I really wanted to provide something that was like, this is what the Lord has done. And like, this is what really goes on and the heart behind it and something that would be a keepsake forever. And so the idea of Satisfied came from just seeing in my own life that I have so many gifts. The Lord had answered so many prayers, and yet I was still feeling dissatisfied. And it wasn't quite what I thought it would all be, or life still had challenges or difficulties. And so really the Lord bringing me on this journey of, Alyssa, like come away and let me remind you of your first love and let me like fully satisfy you. All the areas that maybe feel dry or weary or lacking or isn't living up to your ideals. Let me show you how I meet you there and really am present with you. And my presence is the fullness of joy. And so I wanted to write that. And then as I wrote it, I was thinking of 3 different parts. The book is in 3 parts of how the Lord satisfies us or how we find satisfaction. How the first one is how God satisfies us, like how we spend time with him and his word and prayer and how he meets with us during grief, all of that. And then the second part is finding satisfaction in who we are. I feel like that was such a thing the Lord taught me the last 3 years of our identity, who we are in Christ, the gifts and callings he gives us, and fighting comparison, fighting insecurities. And then also the last one, which I think is so prevalent, especially during our current cultural era with COVID and all of that, is being satisfied in the season we each are in, whether you're single, whether you're married, or not, with kids or not, just being really satisfied in where God has placed you with your community, where you live, the people He surrounded you with, in the roles that you have, maybe as a wife, as a mom. So really just, I feel like the Lord took me on a journey of that, and then to be able to write about that was such a gift.
That's so good.
Yeah.
So you guys go pre-order it, satisfiedbook.com. If you pre-order, you get a bunch of goodies and stuff like that, but also just DM us if you pre-order. Just shoot us a screen capture from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target, wherever, and just let us know you pre-order, because we just want to say thanks. It's a huge gift to us. This is such a big deal for us this year. And I'm really, really stoked for Alyssa. So Leah said, more kids.
Oh,
we'll see. Hope so.
I think we're disagreeing on that right now.
Oh,
Mama has written it off.
here's Alyssa's thing, guys.
I said, done.
Alyssa goes in these moments where you're very up and down with it.
A month ago, I was like, let's do it.
And then like after 2 hard days with tantrums and stuff, you're like, never again.
Well, no, it's been a little more than that. But yeah, we'll see.
I'm like steady Eddie, so I'm like,
that's not true. You were always on the 5-kid train.
Yep.
And then after Lucy, you were like, I think we're done. And I was the one that was like, I don't know if I'm done. Yeah. And then I
still don't know.
Recently.
We still don't know, man. Oh, it's so tough.
But I don't think.
Got to seek the Lord.
Yeah, and I don't know if we'll ever be like firm, black and white. Mm-hmm. No. Or
even yes.
Yeah, I don't know. So I was thinking about kids though. It is so funny because sometimes like Kinsley was a surprise, and Cannon, it was like we decided within a month, like, yeah, let's try again. So I don't know. I feel like that is something the Lord can change so quickly. Yeah. So we'll see. But right now, we're not planning for it.
Yeah. I got a lot of questions on homeschooling, so much so that I feel like maybe let's just do it in the next month or so. Let's do a special episode just on that. Unschooling, homeschooling, etc. One that's a tangent of that, it sounds like, but that I think you can answer quicker than the whole vision of homeschooling. Is Emmy Boyette said, what's Alyssa's daily routine? I always love hearing it. And then tell us your skincare tutorial as well. I added that last part.
I need you guys to tell me your skin tutorial.
I always love the influencer girls. They're always like, and here's a lot of you have been asking me about my skincare routine.
I always wonder that. I'm like, what does that mean? Like, do they really have a lot of people asking, or is it one person? And they're like, a lot of you have been asking me.
It's probably one person, and then they need to talk about the product, but don't know how to say, hey, I just want to hop in here because these people are paying me, which is also totally fine. I don't even knock people that say that about a product I love, but it's like, a lot of you have been asking me. It's always the two I always hear from the influencer girls is, a lot of you have been asking me, or hey guys, I'm just popping in, wanted to pop in.
Hey,
you dropped the pop in.
I like the popping.
Everyone always be popping in, and I'm like,
okay, if you're listening to this, I want to hear in the comments other ways to say that you're popping in. I'm hopping on. I wanted to come on and tell you.
I think all those are the same, and a lot of people do all those. I think you just say hi. I mean, like you start talking. To me, you know what I mean? Like it seems like an unnecessary fluff,
It's like a transition.
But there's no need to transition. People just transitioned from the last story they were watching to your story. They already had a transition.
That's true.
I should do a whole week as an influencer, girl. Just be like, hi guys, I'm just popping in to tell you about what a lot of you have been asking me about.
Jeff always does that when I'm listening to my Instagram.
Okay. But yeah, so your daily, I think your daily routine question is a serious one about just like,
and I do get that a lot.
As a working mom, but who works from home. Like, so it's just, you have a certain context that some people have, some people don't. Some things cross, some things don't for people. Sure. But yeah, you're a working mom, you're a homeschooling mom. We both stay at home. You got little kids. That's kind of your context for your daily routine. But what would you say it looks like?
I've gotten this question actually a lot lately, and I haven't answered it only because our seasons look different at different times. So what I would have said
even 6 months ago,
even 3 months ago is different than what it is right now. Yep. But I can share what we do right now. Honestly, I'm just trying out like a new thing. because my workload has increased dramatically. So it's changing a little bit. But I do want to preface it with, I really do believe in routines and rhythms. I think they're really healthy. I think it really helps to have peace and order in your day, but not to know that a routine and a rhythm is to serve you. You don't serve it. And so I have to constantly...
There's a scripture about that.
Yes.
Except Sabbath, but yeah.
Yeah, Sabbath. I constantly have to remind myself of that because sometimes I can become a slave to the routine. And some days it just doesn't go that way. Like when we're dealing with little people and children and kids and teenagers, and sometimes even work things, like it just, some days look different and there's needs. And so to know that it serves you, but it's okay if it doesn't go that way for the day, the week, even a season. And then also, just really knowing that like different people need different routines because all our lives look different. And so really leaning into the Spirit and asking Him what you need and what serves your family, what serves us may not serve you. And so, but I do love asking that question to people because to gain like little nuggets and what we can implement and are always helpful. So, so just be reminded of that. But for us right now, my daily routine,
and then your skincare routine,
and my skincare routine. So I'm just going to tell you currently in this season, I'm trying to wake up early, ideally 5 a.m. So it's usually like more like 6 right now. I love to have coffee and read my Bible and pray, just because I really need that time with the Lord before I can pour out to my people. And I'll try to work out. Sometimes Jeff and I will work out together, short, like not that much. And then we're trying to do a morning date, just even if it's like 5 minutes a morning, 5 to 15 minutes where we talk, share kind of what we read or what's on our heart and pray for each other. And we don't do it every morning, but it really is
probably 3 or 4 times a week.
Yeah, it really is serving our marriage. I feel like
that's a good one.
We've really needed to prioritize our marriage. We didn't do that so much the last year, so that has been like a huge game changer. I feel like, honestly, I kind of feel like prayer and sex are like the keys to a healthy marriage.
True.
Anyway, so
those are the 2 ingredients for a morning date.
Well,
but you said it only lasts 4 minutes.
Yeah, not for our morning date. Anyway, so that's kind of our morning.
TMI for all you single folks out there. Sorry.
The kids, they wake up anywhere from like 6 to 7:30. It just kind of depends, but we make them stay in their rooms until like 7:30
or 8.
Sometimes 8, but usually 7:30, and then they'll come down and I'll try to do school with Kinsley and Cannon around our breakfast table as much as I can before I get Lucy. She wakes up later because she goes to bed later, but she can be in her bed for like an hour and just play. And so until she starts crying, I try not to get her until like 9, which is crazy, but she's happy as a clam in there so that I can focus on school with the kids. So I try to do, this is really nitty gritty, but I try to do the things with them that are difficult when Lucy is up. So sometimes that's like our read aloud or our math. I try to do handwriting right away just because that's something easy that they can do while I'm cooking breakfast or whatever. So we do that. We spend a long time around the table eating breakfast, getting Lucy up, doing our Bible verses, reading, all of that. And that's kind of the beginning. And sometimes that goes till 10. Sometimes we're done by 9. It just kind of depends. And then I see the mornings like 9:30 to noon as kind of like, that's my time to really just focus on the kids. So I do a load of laundry, I do some things around the house, and then we'll play. We might go somewhere, play outside, do a craft, do science, more like hands-on stuff like that. And that mindset actually has really been helping me to just be like, right now my time, like to time block, like this is so that I don't feel guilty if I'm not getting to emails or getting back to people, because this is like my time to be present fully with the kids. So that has been, and to give myself like just little things to do in the house during the day. Like I'm going to do one load of laundry and I'm going to do the dishes and that's it. And like the rest will be saved for later. So I'm not overwhelmed by all the house stuff. Anyway, moving right along. So then, right about 1 o'clock, we'll do a quiet time. Lucy will go down for her nap. We'll do a quiet time from like 1 to 3. And that's when I can work or rest. Usually right now it's working. And the kids do a couple sports. So their grandma and grandpa will come and get them a couple days a week during that time and take them to their sports so that I can work while Lucy sleeps, which has been really, really helpful. And then the rest of the afternoon, we just kind of play, hang out, eat dinner, play outside a lot, trying to get outside a lot more. And that's kind of our day. And then Jeff, because our lives are really full right now, Jeff and I try to go to bed like around 9 and read and fall asleep. So, yeah. And then for work wise, doing the time blocks has really been helpful for me in this season. So I think of like Monday, Tuesday afternoons is my work time. And then Friday for like 5 hours during the day, Jeff stays home that day and helps with the kids. Mm-hmm. And, we do a shorter homeschool day that day.
Friday's Dad Venture Day, which is when I broke the truck, if you follow on Instagram.
Yes. And that's when I can like schedule a lot of things for work. So that has been really, really, really helpful. Still honing in a lot, still changing things. Things don't always go as planned and still learning what really serves our family. But currently that's kind of where we're at. And I think too for homeschool, our kids are still really young. It's like Kinsley's first grade, Cannon's like pre-K, doing K math, and then Lucy's 2. So we don't really need that much time. I think it takes like 2 hours really to get everything done. And so I have to tell myself like, that is more than enough. And they're learning so much by playing together. We play a lot of games like Uno. Being outside is so important. Even their sports, like doing a little soccer class, that kind of thing. Like I don't know. Right now I'm valuing like being outside and playing a lot. That's really good learning stuff too. So that's our routine.
Those are good. I think we're right at the 30-minute marks. Should we do one more?
Yeah, let's do one more because I talked for a long time.
But that's what people want.
We want to hear from you.
No one does. Okay. This last one is by Yared. It's like, looks like Jared, but like a Hebrew version or something. This one I won't go super long into, even though I could. This one says, how do you navigate extended family's broken, quote unquote, Christian political belief system? My kids hear it. That's a really good question. And basically what I'm hearing you saying is like, yeah, how do you navigate when you're around family? And essentially my guess from how you wrote this, just because I can probably guess, is a super idolatrous kind of like nationalistic Christian, political weird, marriage, and like how just like toxic that is. I know exactly, like you don't have to say much if you kind of just where, that Jesus is not the center, but politics are, or guns are, or certain amendments are, or certain other things. Now, that's not to say you can have a view on all that, right? I know plenty of healthy Jesus followers that, are way more right than me and way more left than me. And that actually bothers me that people think you can't be. But anyways, to this question, do you want to answer that one? This is more of my question or stuff that, here's what I would say. There's a lot I could go into on that. I think there's so many ways. Here's what I'll say. And this is a fairly quick answer.
What are you going to say?
Here's what I'll say. That's me when I'm gearing up. I think the journey of parenting, I think a lot of parents overemphasize a kid just hearing wrong information and thinking it's going to like ruin them. And I think we underemphasize the parental attachment and the power of debriefing. Does that make sense?
That's good. Yeah.
So I think we overemphasize kind of like, oh my goodness, I have to plug my kids' ears all the time. Right? So they don't hear bad stuff about sex or music or drugs or whatever. Now, that's not to say that, we are absolutely the shepherds and the reigners and rulers of like our children's domain, meaning it's our job to protect the gates. That's 100% true. But we need to also, but they are also kings and queens in training. That's what I always tell Cannon and Kinsley and Lucy when she gets older. And so they need to learn how to like engage, like you don't become a king or a queen, reigning for the kingdom unless you are able to navigate the world and instead of just run from it, stand as a witness instead of just run from it, etc. So all that to say, I think what I mean by that is, I think a lot of times we, and there is times to cover your kids' ears. There is times to whatever. Something like a toxic political belief. Now this one's tough for me because I have to go back and forth on this one a little bit because I'm the personality that just like, and you'd probably say this, like nothing bothers me. So like I can be in an environment where people are just spewing like the trashiest rhetoric or view. And I'm just like, that's trash. But like, I don't get offended or hot about it or anything like that. But I do, so that sometimes I will not think about like, oh, what are they taking in, the kids or whatever, right? So I think you have to think about that. But in general, I think we overemphasize that, meaning like, oh, cover their ears, rather than, hey, how about you just let your kid be exposed to it and then you debrief on the way home? Like, hey, did you hear Uncle Jerry? Did you notice how he was grumpy? Did you notice how he sounded very angry? What are the fruits of the Spirit again? Did we see any fruits of the Spirit on Uncle Jerry? No, we didn't see any. What does that tell us? Right? What? I mean, just call it out.
We didn't see any.
But you get what I'm saying, though?
Yeah.
Like, I think it's as simple. I literally think it's as simple as that. Like, it's another way to put it is like, you're your children's guide in the world, not just the one to protect them from the world. So
that's giving them tools to engage with our culture.
And
family.
Exactly. That's exactly, the tools is the right word. Your job is to give them the frameworks, the tools, the way to engage with information, right? Not be, like there's a famous study, I'm going to butcher it, but there's basically a book on like children trauma. This is different because this isn't, children trauma, maybe it is, but, of a kid seeing a car accident and in kind of this basically it's better. Like our inclination is to, when a kids see when they're really young, like, oh, turn your eyes, that's horrific. When in reality, that actually does something to their emotional trauma stress response in the future, where then they flare up without realizing why they're flaring up next time they see sirens.
Is that from the
whole brain
book?
Or whatever?
Yeah.
But what actually does way better for them is when you say, oh, hey, did you see that? What did you feel when you saw that?
Yeah, you kind of process it.
You process, etc. So I think turn into that and then kind of remind that that you guys are a family team. You know what I mean? So when you see that, it's like, hey, our little unit, Team Bethke, Team Johnson, Team whatever, right? We don't talk like that. We don't act like that. Now, here's why, right? We want to exhibit the fruits of the Spirit. Now, we might even believe some of the things Uncle Jerry believes, and we might disagree strongly with what Uncle Jerry believes. But we don't talk like that, or we don't act like, whatever. So, and what does it mean to be a Christian? Well, a Christian means to feel, smell, and look and talk like Christ, Jesus. Well, you can just, it's all these questions I'm probing. So, that's probably what I would say to that one. I hope it's helpful. But I think, remember that, play up the guide part of parenthood. And I wish more parents did that. It takes a lot of intentionality to do that, because you have to have really healthy frameworks. And then you also have to be sensitive, and then you have to kind of be sensitive to being a teacher all the time. But yeah. So anything you would say with that before we close it down for the week?
Poor Jerry.
There was none of the fruits of the Spirit on it.
None.
Oh, that's so good. So, all right, guys, remember, Satisfied Book. We're 4 weeks out. Get all the pre-order goodies, satisfiedbook.com, and send us a screenshot. Go to Amazon right now. Go to walmart.com. Go to wherever. Buy the book. Send us a screen capture. We just want to say thanks. And buy some for your friends. Buy some for a group. I'm stoked. And the recipes in there are bomb.com. I can tell you because I tasted all of them.
And the pre-order recipes are actually...
Oh yeah,
so
there's extra recipes you get
that
if you
are
pre-order.
not in the book. You only get them if you pre-order, and they're so good.
Yep, exactly. So all right, you guys, we love you guys. We'll see you next week.